First story. About a year after D-Day, feeling sometimes better, sometimes not that good. I read a lot of understandable stuff here and things that changed or hardened my point of view on this topic. And I wanted to post my story just to give people hope while they go through a tough time and have to handle such a situation. For me, it gets better with time, when effort for R is put in. This is exhausting many times, but true for me. I have to apologize at first, my bad English, my mother tongue is German. My M38 wife, F34, had an emotional and physical affair from 2022 to spring 2023, about 4 months physical. I only know because the wife of AP did find out. Wife and AP were co-worker, and because both of us couple were friends. Little did I know that wasn't the case for AP and did often things together as families. We have 2 kids, they won. My wife had to tell me the why of the question, why we can't meet each other anymore. This was April 2023. Her explanation at that time was it was only one kiss, and we could not see each other because AP's wife did not want this. I asked if she had emotions for him. She said no, and I said I don't believe you cause I know you. She lied and blah 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 and manipulated me out so that she could go further on with the lie. Part because she did not want me to be hurt. Understandable after 15 years of partnership. Part because of limerence. But because I trusted her fully at that time, it took till 2023 to find out the whole truth. Full emotional affair, lots of fog and fantasy, yada yada yada. The whole how. Wife meant he is her soulmate, not seeing my pain. Blame shifting, all the funny stuff I think only betrayed one really understand. In nearly every post here I find some parallels. For me this is not a pretty situation, but it helps me a lot to know we are not alone with such dilemma. Because they worked together and she wanted to stay befriended. Of course, with AP, it took hard boundaries that I had to tell her, until she finally understood that this friendship cannot be, and she also will be happily married, be partnershiped. To be true, our marriage died for me at the point the EA started with me. I always believed in romantic relationship. Nowadays a healthy, not so romantic anymore relationship for me means you trust each other. You can be true to each other and both make sure they know the consequences of their actions in most parts of life. Cause no one is perfect, right? The dissonance in her brain was very challenging. For example, she knew she had to get another job, but I nearly had to force her to get another job. And Jesus, at that time as she got the new job and was most frustrated, because the reality that API isn't a part of her life anymore hit at her. It was very hard for me to help her grieve this. I sure did not have to do this, but I can't help. I love her and want the best for her, so I did what I thought was good for us. At that time I could not ask her, hey, how can I help you moving on, because we both couldn't trust in any of her words. She really was, as she was in limerence, another person than the person I married. Before DDay I was naive, saw some signs, didn't address it. This is my responsibility, and nothing but this for the affair happening. There were minor problems in our relationship, sometimes low understandings of each other, and sometimes we took less time for each other. And besides that, my wife told me all the time, before the EA started and even short after day, but not in the time while the affair, she loves me, by the way. She said, like so much others, but I'm not in love with you, and wanted the relationship with me, not with him. She even told me our marriage was superb, not perfect, true, and I'm fine with it, but better than good, and I felt, thought, and think the same. We all do failures, every one of us. She confessed this huge one. After DDay, I would say the day in October. As she mentioned, they did physical things multiple times. And after losing 25 pounds on weight because of pure PTSD in 2 months, the why this happens, and the is he better than me thoughts were awful as hell. I had to make a decision how to move forward with my life. I went to IC for myself, because my wife didn't want to go to CC. I did more sport and things for my better well-being. Counselor was very backupping on all of my experiences, and if I got stuck, he really helped me to look at the things from perspectives I did not saw. This was one of the best decisions for me to help me getting over this situation. Additional help came from pro-reconciliation stuff. There is a lot of stuff on the internet and many good books. Just to mention the Gottmans and Esther Perel, Marriage Helper After Infidelity, to name a few. Some things in there are not only good in that way that we BS may have had contributed, that our partner was pushed away, and that could be true for one or another. I found myself things to improve to become a better human being. Not just for my wife but in general. It helped me a ton to get deeper to understand how brain work, especially the happiness hormones, and what limerence is. I think you can't control your thoughts always but your actions. I guess my wife had to learn this lesson the hard way. She is remorseful, makes sure I don't get hurt. But the road is not linear and very bumpy, as you all know. 1 step forward, 3 steps back, 5 left and 7 forward to go 2 back. I guess you all know that. It's hard to go on our, but good things mostly are hard, so I for myself think I'd better give it a try than not. And I have to say there are now more better days than not. And slowly I can see more beauty in life in much more parts, not only in my marriage again. And that amazes me the most, and I find peace in that. I don't like to say we now have a better relationship than before, but sometimes I think maybe this had to happen. That both of us are now able to address our problems in an understandable way, so we both can work on them. We now do MC, her idea. I was surprised at that moment because I did not saw that coming. I guess after she saw that IC helped me a lot, she decided to give it a shot. And this helps her more than me to understand what she has to address, to make the relationship for both of us safe again and to stay good together. She is doing the right things mostly, and when not and I address it in a calm way, she listens and understands truly. I sometimes see the change in her and have the feeling this is what it used to be time ago before the affair in our relationship. Don't get me wrong, she does not put herself down, and I wouldn't want that for her, but I really feel that she wants our to be working. I can't describe this feeling in exact words, but her actions show that she does put in at least some work. I guess it's always on us, both the WS and the BS, to make our work. I hope all the best for us all. I truly can feel the pain in the posts I read, and I hope we all here get to a point where we are truly living the life we want. Much text, more than I expected. Partnership gets better if both try to do better when it's not working, just like partners should behave. Second story. What would you think? My BF, 25M, and I, 26F, have been together for about a year and living together for 3 months. Disclaimer: I have a history of having experienced infidelity and cheating from previous partners, and I have always been an overthinker, so there's definitely a lot of that going on, no doubt, but I don't want to discredit myself either. So, a little bit before we moved in, I felt a slight shift. What it was I couldn't say. He was just slightly different sometimes, and he claimed it was stress. And I believed him because he had his car break down, and had just needed to put a down payment on another, and so he was working double time for that, and we were seeing each other less. I will admit this did bring about some fear from my end, but at the end of the day, this was all my stuff I needed to work through. Fast forward to a month after we moved in together was the first thing I noticed that was odd. We were gonna go for a drive, and a pair of my underwear were in the driver's side car side door pocket thing. It wasn't my underwear that worried me, but his reaction. I asked him why are my underwear here, and his response was very defensive, and he said a few other things, and mentioned that it felt to him that I was accusing him of cheating when they were my underwear there anyway. Truthfully, all I said to provoke that response was asking him why they were there. Eventually, after a few conversations about it, I let it go and thought maybe there was something I was subconsciously through body language was giving off to him that made him react that way. So ultimately I dropped it. After all, they were my underwear. I just did not understand his explanation completely and was startled he reacted so defensively. And the only reason these things were mentioned are for context, I suppose, to show that I felt things were off somehow. Admittedly, I am shamed for this next bit, but I eventually snooped through his closet and his things in his man cave room, we'll call it that. I had just gotten home from visiting and staying overnight for a few days at my parents' house, who lived 2.5 HRS away. He was not there and had gone off to work. He works nights and I work days, so we can have opposite schedules a lot of the time. In the closet I found a bag of sex toys. Included in these were these tickler cock rings and a ripped open condom wrapper, condom no longer there. The tickle part is on the exterior part of the ring and is meant for clitoral stimulation. When worn, I had come to find out. In this sex toy bag there was a plastic bag, looked to be the original bag which the tickler cock rings were sold from. In total there must have been 12 rings of different shapes and varieties. All but one of the rings were in this plastic bag within the sex toy bag. These were unbeknownst to me, and he had to have moved them into our new place from his old place. Needless to say, I felt shamed for what I'd discovered, and for some reason due to that shame, I decided not to tell him. At that time I just believed that this stuff must have been from his previous person he was dating before me, which ended 3 months before we got together. I just could not bring myself to admit that I snooped just yet. For 3 weeks I didn't say anything because I felt ashamed and told myself I'd just forget it, so I did. I went to visit my parents again 3 weeks after the initial sex toy bag discovery. Since they live nearly 3 hours away, I usually stay overnight at least one day. Since I work from home, I have this flexibility. Once I returned, something in the place felt off and I noticed several towels in random places. I'd noticed my own towel hanging up in the bathroom was also tampered with because there was toilet paper on it. Might sound crazy, but I tend to never allow toilet paper on my own towel, lol. Our indoor blink camera was moved as well. So, you already guessed it. I snooped again. The contents of the sex toy bag had changed. There was one more condom wrapper, again unsealed without a condom. This makes 2 wrappers in total now. And there were 3 tickler cock rings outside of its original packaged plastic bag, instead of just one this time. So obviously this is when I came clean to him about snooping, because there was now what I thought was evidence for the bag having been touched recently. I discussed things with him when he got home from work, and he was adamant that this bag was not used in a long time, that I must have miscounted or something because its contents should not have changed. I felt certain before our discussion, but since then I doubt whether I seen things right the first time. This last discussion was about a month and a half ago now. We've talked a lot about it since, just because I fear I am being lied to. Truthfully, if the contents of that bag were the same all along, then I am truly insane. Nevertheless, this has led me to truly overthink everything since then. Every time he's away I am paying close attention. We have an indoor blink camera, because when we're both away I like to speak to my dog, who has some pretty bad separation anxiety. But its purpose has now evolved beyond this. This used to be unarmed and used for the sole purpose of speaking to the dog when away until about 3 weeks ago, and he agreed that we could just keep it running, but this means it records every bit of motion it detects. We also have each other's locations shared throughout all of this, so I guess that provides some comfort, but at what cost? Privacy? I fear never being able to get past this because it's a huge question mark in my mind. But I don't want to be the crazy, obsessive girlfriend. However, I feel as though it's already gotten to that point. He brought up an interesting point, which was he's damned if he didn't, he's damned if he did, so I lie. He says he feels almost reluctant to leave the house or do much because he doesn't want me to think anything bad is going on, which honestly breaks my heart. I never want to be the reason someone isolates themselves. I can't help but feel like I'm the bad person here, and maybe it's time to move on, which is gonna suck because obviously I love him. I would never know if I was truly just being nuts all along, but it's unfair to him that he feels that way. Since this past conversation a month and a half ago, there have been some things still that felt off, but I chalked it up to me overthinking everything since then. I guess I'm looking for thoughts, advice, insight. Any questions? Please help me unpack this shit. Third story. Went on 2 dates 27 meters with the best girl I have talked to yet 29F. She ended it a few days later. Is it 100% my fault? I gave this girl my number at a coffee shop and she started texting me 15 minutes later. She's 29 and I'm 27. She finalized her divorce, she said, the day after I gave her my number. She was dating someone for 10 years, 3 of them she was married. I took her for food for our first date, and then we watched a few movies in her apartment and made out. I left and thought things were going good. For our second date, a week later, I told her that I had a surprise for her. I told her to get off for a different date that we originally planned, and she was able to make that work. Before I picked her up for it, she asked to postpone the sleepover that night, cause her cat got sick. I told her okay. I took her an hour away to see Adam Sandler on his new tour. She seemed to like it. I took videos of us at the event. On the way home though, I asked her if she wanted company while she washes her sheets, to which she said okay. I ended up holding her while she fell asleep and I slept over too. I understand now that me doing that and still in a way not doing what she asked was wrong, even though she let me. The next day she was quiet, and after I asked her what was wrong, she told me that she felt that I understood what she wanted, and that she felt uncomfortable asking me to not spend the night after we alright discussed it. I told her I apologize and that I thought things were going okay, and she didn't mind, so that's why I slept over. Now looking back, I understand I was maybe too available and pushy. We talked on the phone the next day after I left. From sleeping over, I didn't hear from her all day. She told me that just because I don't hear from her in an 8-hour period doesn't mean she doesn't like me, that she values her alone time, and that she didn't think communication styles was something she wanted to compromise on. My friend suggested I mention it to her. She said there's other things in a relationship people can compromise on. We set up a date for the following Thursday, after agreeing that maybe things were moving too fast and one date a week is fine. She agreed once I told her that maybe it's feeling too much like dating and she'd feel more comfortable after showing things down. She texted me after this asking me if I felt better, and I said yes, and she said okay. Then no word for the rest of the day. The next day, she texted me telling me that she wanted to give it proper thought and she didn't think right now she could see us being together romantically or compatible long term. She told me it was because of us doing a sleepover 3 times in a week, me wanted to be in the police, and a huge second date. I told her that I felt like we could talk about things, and she told me that she remembers how giddy she felt when she went on the first few dates with her ex-husband. And even though I'm a good person, she didn't feel that with me, and to not take it personal even though now I am. I'm very upset about all this though, because she was everything I was looking for in someone. She liked thrift shopping, was comfortable with her body, smart, empathetic, kind, all that. I keep telling everyone that I'll never find another girl again, and they keep telling me otherwise. I understand that I should have taken things slower, but I also was just going off of how she felt and how she didn't really communicate issues until the night she didn't want me to sleep over. I have regrets here and know now what mistakes I made, but unfortunately I can't go back. She told me we can still be friendly if you want, but I understand you will probably want time, and I responded with okay. Sounds good. I really liked this girl a ton though, and I am crushed because she was the best one yet. Went on 2 days and now crushed. Update. Me, 28M, and her, 21F, have been talking for a bit, but she's always texting her ex who's just a friend. She still is intimate with me. What's going on? We met a month and a half ago. She'll be 22 in 2 weeks and her daughter will turn 7 in August. I just turned 28. I honestly think she just wanted a hookup the first night we got together, as she told me that night that her brother can't know about it. I met her through working with her brother. But then we still kept talking until she went ghost for 5 days a week later. The night we hooked up, she also seen a text from another woman saying goodnight with a kiss emoji on my phone. I assured her that I didn't like her and not to worry. That Memorial Day weekend when she ghosted me, she was tagged in photos on FB holding this guy's hand, we'll call him Derek, that she's been with for 4 years. I reached out to her and we took a ride. I talked to her, and she claimed she didn't think I knew what I wanted due to the text from the girl who texted me the night we hooked up, and that her and Derek are just friends. We agreed to only see each other, and that lasted about a week, until some other stuff came up. She hit me with a let's be friends speech. I told her that I don't do that. Apparently Derek and her broke up in December. Her brother told me that she's never left him though, and that he thinks she doesn't know what she wants and that she is playing with me. He thinks she'll never leave this guy. She was talking to this other guy Justin who she dumped and he's basically stalking her now. Her and Justin were talking when her and Derek broke up. She told me in the beginning that this Derek guy is good with her daughter and that's why she likes him so much. I'm sure the two are intimate probably. Derek didn't have a heart by his name a week and a half ago on her phone I noticed, and now there is. She tried giving me the I really liked you and did see a future with you and you'd be the first one that I would reach out to if I was ready again. And I don't want things to be awkward if we run into each other when you're working with my brother. Speech like 2 times. She slowly has stopped texting me but still will come and visit me on when she works. She works from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. and we will hook up on her hour-long 2 a.m. break. Me and her met at a community event this past weekend and then went out for late-night food, and I was texting her at the table. I could see that Derek was texting her and she was responding to them. Me and her have plans for her to come over tonight on her break, and then she'll stop by, she said, after her bar job Thursday on her way home. I don't understand why she'll come over and sleep with me, yet when she leaves she doesn't text me all day, but yet texts this Derek guy. I don't know what's going on. Any advice or options would be appreciated. Update. I, 28M, feel like this girl, 22F, I've been seeing is cheating on another guy, 21M, with me. What is going on? Me and this girl who's 22 and has a soon-to-be 7-year-old daughter have been talking since May. We have been seeing each other, taking her daughter to do things, meeting up on her late-night breaks at work and hooking up at my place, and talking on the phone. Before her daughter was out of school for the summer we would hang out until her daughter got off the bus. Meanwhile, she has this 21-year-old guy, we will call him Nathan, that she will go off for an entire weekend to his grandparents' cabin and hang out with. She won't text me when she's around him. Matter of fact, she deletes our messages and he doesn't even know me and her talk. We'll be together like we were today walking around the mall with her daughter. He'll call her and she won't answer. She will tell me absolutely not when I say to answer it. This guy has apparently been in her life for 4 years. He's insecure and controlling. He doesn't like her wearing revealing clothing, hugging other guys, and a bunch of other things. She claims she is attached to him emotionally. She is supposed to go to Ohio with him tomorrow for the day for a concert. She openly tells me not to expect to hear from her all day. She does all this while telling me that she sees a future with me, that we will be eventually getting an apartment. She likes my personality, that I'm attractive, I'm funny, and most importantly to her I am good with her daughter. She will tell me that she doesn't want to talk about Nathan anymore, that she just wants to have fun and that I think into things too much. She claims she is sick of talking to me about Nathan and that we have the same conversation all the time. I try and explain to her That if she was considering my feelings and concerns, then we wouldn't have to have the conversation about why she doesn't follow through with what she tells me she will do all the time. She will tell me that I have to trust her, that things will be different, and that come August me and her will be doing more things. I feel like she's dating this Nathan guy and cheating on him technically with me. What is she doing and why? I've been seeing this girl, and it's like we do things that a couple would do, but yet I feel like she's cheating on another guy with me.